Monday and regular town council meeting of North Branford, Connecticut to order. It is Tuesday, November 18th. Time is 6:33. Please join me in a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we are going to start tonight's meeting by the swearing in of the new Town Council Water Pollution Control Authority and Board of Education members, and this oath will be administered by the town clerk. However you want to do it. You want me to come around?
Yeah, I'll start with the mayor, deputy mayor, and the rest of the council, and then all of the board of education members come up. Sure. So let's take a picture. Do you solemnly swear that you will faithfully discharge your duties as mayor of the town of North Branford to the best of your abilities, so help you God?
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you solemnly swear that you will faithfully discharge according to law your duties as deputy mayor for the town of North Branford to the best of your ability, so help you God?
I do.
Congratulations.
Will the rest of the council members come up, please? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will faithfully discharge according to law your duties as a member of the North Branford Town Council and Water Pollution Control Authority Commission to the best of your abilities, so help you God?
I do.
Congratulations.
We're gonna take one picture of all of us. That's all. Mike, can you take one? So, Board of Education members?
Do you solemnly swear that you will faithfully discharge according to the law your duties as a member of the Board of Education for the town of North Branford to the best of your ability, so help you God? Congratulations.
Okay, so now we will continue on with our meeting. Next item is roll call.
Mayor Angeloni.
Here.
Deputy Mayor McMillan.
Present.
Counselor Diamond.
Here.
Counselor Gold.
Here.
Counselor Mace.
Here.
Counselor Miller.
Here.
Counselor Palicia.
Here.
Counselor Whitworth.
Here.
And Counselor Zampano.
Here. Okay. So the next order of business is appointment of clerk to council and the establishment of compensation thereof, which you will find on page 3 of our packet.
I'll make the motion that the North Branford Town Council hereby accepts and appoints Kathleen Daly as clerk of the North Branford Town Council at a rate of $275 for each 2-hour meeting and an additional $25 for each hour thereafter for a term to expire in November 16th, 2027.
I'll second that.
Motion was made by Counselor Diamond, seconded by Deputy Mayor McMillan. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. The next item is appointment of town attorney. Which is on page 4.
I'll make the motion that the North River Town Council hereby appoints Attorney Brian L., the clerk of the law firm of Birch and Moses, P.C., as town attorney for the town of North Branford to a term expiring November 16th, 2027.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion was made by member Councilor Diamond, seconded by Deputy Mayor McMillan. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Okay, next item is approval of minutes. The first one is minutes from the September 23rd, 2025 special WPCA and Town Council meeting, which was tabled from our last meeting.
We made the changes, right?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second?
Motion by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Councilor Diamond. I just have one question, and it's on page 14 of our packet. Page 10 of the minutes. And it's in regards to the discussion of Company 4. And I thought when we talked about it that we budgeted $20,000 and the total cost of the project was $35,000, not $35,000 over budget, correct?
You're correct.
Okay, so that needs to be corrected in the minutes. So total budget is $35,000 and not 35 over budget.
I have a question. Is this the part where you say Mayor Angeloni asked how much it is over budget?
Correct.
Finance Director Esposito reported that it is about $35,000 over budget.
Correct.
So what's wrong?
It's not 35,000 over budget. The total, it's 15,000 over budget. There was 20,000 budgeted, and the total budgeted amount at the time we discussed this was 35,000. So the total amount over budget would be 15,000.
So the proposal was to use $15,000 out of the 30 left over, so there's a $15,000 for any additional parts. Is that accurate?
Yes, because that refers to the beginning up at the top when Finance Director talked about where the additional funding was coming from, the roof project. So there was roughly 30,000 left in the roof project. 15,000 would be coming from the roof project to cover that 15,000 over budget, and there would be 15,000 left for any other.
I see what you explained. Okay,
Okay?
I'm good.
Okay.
Would you like me to amend?
Yes, please.
I'll amend my motion to accept the changes as stipulated by Mayor Angeloni.
Second.
Okay. Motion was amended, and the second was amended. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain?
Abstain.
And Mr. Mace, are you abstaining?
I voted aye.
Well, you weren't at that meeting. You weren't, these are September 23rd minutes.
Oh, okay, so when something is brought to me now, and I wasn't at that meeting, I have to abstain?
I
Is
believe
that right,
that's,
Counselor? I was sworn in tonight to vote on what is going on.
You could approve them, you wouldn't have any knowledge of what happened, that's why typically people do abstain. If they weren't at the meeting, they don't know if they accurately reflect what happened, but you can nonetheless approve them.
Well, I voted aye, but if you want, I'll abstain. If that-
it's up, we'll go with the town attorney's suggestion. It doesn't matter.
Probably better not to if you weren't there.
Okay, I abstained then.
Okay, thank you. Next item is minutes from the October 21st, 2025 WPCA and Town Council meeting.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Motion was made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Councilor Diamond. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain?
Abstain.
Motion carries. Next item is minutes from October 27th, 2025. It was a special joint meeting of the Town Council, Permanent Project Building Committee, and Police Commission.
Motion to accept?
Second.
Motion made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Councilor Diamond. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain?
Abstain.
Motion carries. And the last one is minutes from the October 28th, 2025 Special Town Council meeting.
Make a motion to accept?
Second.
Motion was made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Councilor Diamond. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain?
Abstain.
Motion carries. Okay, on to Water Pollution Control Authority agenda. Correspondence and citizen statements regarding the WPCA. Seeing none, going on to unfinished business, none listed. New business, WPCA, nothing listed. And then citizen statements and petitions regarding WPCA. Okay, nothing there. So now we are on to the regular town council meeting. First item is community events and presentations. And tonight we are honoring Bruce Abelson from the town council. And we have, hold on.
Thought that's what we were doing.
The ice cream.
Yeah, we didn't get ice cream.
I know.
Checks in the
Hey,
mail.
I know.
It's in the mail.
I mean,
Everybody thinks that you get paid.
the check is a bottle of water. I think we have some extra bottles of water, so we could give you one of those. So on behalf of the town council and the town of North Branford, I would like to present this plaque in recognition of service to Bruce Abelson. This commendation is hereby given in recognition and appreciation for your years of service and contributions to our community. Serving on the town council from November 9th, 21 to November 14th, 23, and then November 14th, 23 to November 11th, 2025. Presented November 18th, 2025.
Very nice.
Oh, I get
You
it.
did.
Well, it's coming back, so.
Okay, good.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Gonna miss you, Bruce.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Make sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bruce. Okay. Now we are on to reports of committees, boards, and commissions. First one is economic development.
I wasn't prepared for that one.
Okay, no problem. Park and Recreation, they did not meet last month due to lack of quorum, but I will say they did, the Park Rec and Senior Center had a Veterans Day luncheon on November 6th, and this week they will be doing their Thanksgiving luncheon on Thursday of this week. The Veterans Day was very well attended by our veterans. It was really a very nice event. Paulette Hart from town crocheted 2 blankets, 2 Afghans with a patriotic theme, and they were raffled off. So everyone that was there that day received a coupon, and they raffled them off, and they were really very well received by the veterans. And it was really a great luncheon. We are very fortunate. The cook, Tony DeLizio, for the senior center does an absolutely amazing job, and they were all very pleased with the lunch that day. So it was great. Police Commission.
Counselor Gold and I attended the Police Commission meeting on November 10th. The first part of the reports were from the chair and the vice chair, that they are still working. The Permanent Project Building Committee is working on a building issue, and it will continue to work on that as needed. The chief, it's actually on the agenda tonight. He asked to meet with the town council about the peddling, hawking, and vending charter that's in the, the chapter that's in the charter. The deputy chief discussed the excellent work by the Detective Bureau, especially Detective Miller, for the great job in apprehending an individual from Pennsylvania who actually ran up charges on somebody in towns on their charge card. And I think he's still working on more of them. The chief also talked about the fact, because of the season that we're in, he's putting more officers in the parking lots and shopping centers, et cetera. I think that's a great thing to do, considering the fact that, many of us are having problems these days with that. And he also discussed a number of traffic issues, and that's the report.
Okay, thank you. Fire Commission.
I will take over those duties again and be report the next meeting.
We're going to go through liaisons. We're going to appoint liaisons at our January meeting, so it's fine. So we'll go through that then. Planning and zoning.
They met on November 6th, and it was a public hearing regarding a continuation of subdivision on Glen Road. The proposal is to put 5 additional lots at the end of Glen Road. So there were some takeaways about drainage, about blasting, about the safety of getting safety vehicles such as fire engines in and out, because some of the driveways were going to be about 800 feet long from how it was presented. So that's still ongoing.
Okay. Finance Subcommittee. We did not meet. Town offices were closed last week on Veterans Day, so we'll continue with our meetings starting next month. Public Safety Communications Subcommittee.
The committee did not meet, but they all have a copy of the proposed schedule for next year. And if we need to, because there may be some issues coming up, we will meet in December.
Okay. CIWWA.
There was a very interesting presentation at the meeting on October 22nd by a woman named Hunter Lawler, who's the senior project manager for the Trust for Public Land. And she presented an open space program for protection for 1635 Middletown Avenue. I have the expert here to help me if I make a mistake. It's a Farm River space project. It's a 26-acre plot of land near the Farm River. What she was looking for was a letter of support from our Inland Wetlands Commission, which I know has been done, and also she's going to be looking for funding to do that. I think it sounds like a wonderful project. Bob probably knows more about it than I do.
Yeah, and actually there is, I know that they have been talking to the Assistant Town Manager, Rory Burke, in regards to the town has money in a land preservation fund that has been there for a number of years. And they also are applying for an OSWA grant, which is the same grant that the Land Trust applied for when they went to purchase Beach and Palms property from the water company, which they did receive from the state. And that grant was $385,000 that the Land Trust got. And now this piece of property, it's been there for a while, but the owner of the land was going back and forth whether he was going to do development on it, keep it as open space going back and forth, and I guess at this point in time, he's decided to move forward with keeping it as open space, and that's, hence, they are applying for grants and things like that to purchase this property. I think it's a wonderful piece of property to purchase and to save as open
It
space.
was a wonderful, she made a wonderful presentation, too.
So, and it would be going to the land trust eventually, is where the property would go. The town would not own it. So that's a great thing. Okay. Blueprint Committee.
Meet Thursday at the Atwater Library at 7.
Okay. All right. On to Town Manager's Report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. We held the municipal general election for all seats on the town council and several seats on the Board of Education on November 4th. Congratulations to the new 25-27 town council, newly elected and re-elected members of the Board of Education, and thanks to those not elected for being willing to stand up and work for our town. I'd also like to extend our thanks to the registrars in the town clerk's office, as well as the numerous volunteers who ensured a smooth 14-day-long early election period, as well as a seamless election day. As we begin the new 2-year term of the town council, I've provided some items in the blue folders at all of your seats. You will find a copy of Robert's Rules of Order, the parliamentary manual under which the council transacts its business, as well as a copy of the current rules of procedure of the town council, the manual specific to the council by which the council transacts business and supersedes Robert's rules in areas where applicable. You'll also find a copy of the town charter, an organizational chart of the town departments, a 2025 Connecticut Town Profile of North Branford with important demographic information on the town, a graphic summary of the upcoming budget process, the Code of Ethics, and a sheet of QR codes providing access to numerous helpful online resources. I'm currently working with the town attorney on setting up a town council orientation session, which will be announced shortly. This session will cover town council operations, responsibilities of members of the council, and matters of law, including freedom of information requirements important to the functioning of the council. The session will be especially geared toward our newest members, but all council members are encouraged to attend, and we'll set up multiple sessions if necessary. Veterans Day was last week, and I was pleased to join our Veteran Service Commission, Mary Angeloni, State Representative Vincent Candelora, and State Comptroller Sean Scanlon for the annual Senior Center's Veterans Day Luncheon, as the mayor alluded to earlier. It was held November 6th at Stanley T. Williams. We had over 80 attendees at this event aimed at honoring our local veterans and their service to our nation. On Veterans Day, I was also pleased to join Mayor Angeloni, Deputy Mayor McMillan, Councilors Whitworth, Policia, and Mace, and the Superintendent of Schools and members of the Board of Education at Jerome Harrison School for their Veterans Day breakfast and celebration. Other celebrations were additionally held at Totucket Valley Elementary School and North Branford High School. On October 23rd, I was pleased to join Mayor Angeloni and Assistant Manager Burke for a ribbon cutting for I Heart Homes Real Estate at their new location in Northford Center. Founded by North Branford resident mother and son team Christine and Eddie Lawton, I Heart Homes is a trusted, community-focused, full-service brokerage. After years of renovating homes, Christine and Eddie founded I Heart Homes in 2017 with a deep knowledge of the industry. They focus on making every transaction smooth, stress-free, and personal. Visit their brand-new offices at 1355 Middletown Avenue in Northford. On November 6th, Assistant Town Manager Rory Burke joined State Representative Vincent Candelora and other regional leaders at the grand opening and ribbon cutting for Genoa Healthcare Pharmacy located at Building A1 at the BH Care Complex at 28 Brantford Road. The facility enhances access to pharmacy services for their clients, staff, and families, and is open to the public as well. They're open Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. On Sunday, October 26th, I joined Mayor Angeloni and Assistant Town Manager Burke for a ceremony with the North Branford Land Conservation Trust to open the new Starry Lane Trail that connects the Atwater Library to the Harrison Farm Preserve. This was made possible, as you'll recall, by an ARPA fund authorization from the Town Council. There's also a recognition of David Sargent, President of North Branford Land Conservation Trust, as he was awarded the Catch and Coley Award for Excellence in Conservation. So we extend our congratulations to David. Congratulations go out to North Branford Youth Football and Cheer. For the first time in Connecticut Youth Football League history, one town has won all 3 championships. Team A has now won 3 championships in a row. Team B has now won 3 championship appearances and has had 2 wins. And Team C now has its first ever CTYFL championship. And congratulations also go to North Branford High School head football coach Anthony Salvati, who was selected as Coach of the Year by the New Haven Board of Officials, and the Thunderbirds are currently 7-1 and heading to the playoffs. Park and Rec news, the annual tree lighting, December 5th, is at Auger Field, 6:30 to 8 o'clock p.m. Festivities include ice carving, marshmallow toasting, hay rides, cookies and cocoa, food trucks, and of course Santa. There will be fireworks, and there will be sponsorship opportunities to support the display, which can be viewed at mbrecreation.com. In association with the tree lighting event, you can purchase a raffle ticket for $1 at Stanley T.W. Community Center during regular hours until December 3rd for a chance to light the town tree on December 5th. Parks and Recreation will be hosting home-cooked dinners the second Friday of every month from 5:30 p.m. to 7 o'clock p.m. at the STW Community Center. Upcoming dates are Friday, December 12th, Friday, January 9th, and Friday, February 13th, for a suggested donation of $5 per person. And as the mayor mentioned earlier, the Thanksgiving Senior Center Luncheon will take place Thursday, November 20th at 12 o'clock noon at STW. Don't miss that one. It's my favorite one of the year. Thanks to all the town departments that participated in this year's Halloween decorating contest. Participants included the Fire Marshal, Assessor, Finance, Parks and Rec, Town Clerk, Purchasing, and Town Manager's Office. Special thanks to our special judges for the event, Mayor Rose Angeloni, Deputy Mayor McMillan, and Councilor Marie Diamond. The judges viewed their displays, deliberated, and made their decisions. First place went to the Assessor's Office, second place to Park and Rec, and third place to the Finance Department. North Branford Public Libraries, in conjunction with the North Branford Department of Public Works, put on a Paint a Plow event where children were able to stop by either the Edward Smith or Atwater libraries, paint their hands, and stamp them on one of our snow plows. So when the flakes start flying, be on the lookout for these colorful snow plows throughout town. Thanks go to all the children who participated in this first-time event, and our libraries and public works staff for making it such a great event. It's that time of year again, and special thanks go to Ryan Van Wilgen for donating for our annual Tractor Hay Bales Pumpkins display in front of Town Hall once more this year, as well as Cliff Potter, who always helps coordinate this terrific display. And the North Branford Police Department is once again serving as a drop-off point for Toys for Tots. Those wishing to contribute can bring an unwrapped gift and place it in one of the drop boxes located in the department lobby. Your generosity can help bring joy to children in need this season. The Police Department will be collecting toys now through December 18th. The Totucket Historical Society is holding their annual Holiday Bazaar on November 22nd, 9 o'clock to 2 p.m. at the Reynolds Beers House, 1720 Foxen Road. You can bring your pets and kids and take a photo with Santa. And at the same time, the North Branford Public Library's book sale will be taking place at Atwater Library. We have one date left of our leaf drop-off program, this Saturday, November 22nd. Residents can bring their leaves to the leaf drop-off center located to the left of the old police station around Wall Field on Route 22 from 9 o'clock in the morning till 3 p.m. There are signs posted for the location and directions, no brush or grass clippings, and please place the leaves in biodegradable leaf bags with no tape. There will also be a curbside pickup of leaves in untaped biodegradable paper bags the week of December 1st and the week of December 12th. Just a reminder that I put out a monthly email newsletter that goes out on the 4th Friday of every month. The next one will go out this Friday, November 1st, which is 1 week early on account of the Thanksgiving holiday next week. The newsletter contains news and announcements from the town and is a great way to keep up with what we have happening. There's a sign-up form on the front page of my page on the town website to receive the newsletter. Also, as a reminder, we have town emergency notifications available through Civic Ready that residents can sign up for. You can text North Branford, no spaces, to 38276 to get emergency alerts and community notifications. You can also sign up online at northbranfordct.gov/alerts or call 475-655-0400 to sign up via phone. Notifications go out via text, email, and phone. As a reminder, in observance of Thanksgiving holiday, town offices will be closed on Thursday and Friday, November 28th and 29th. Thanksgiving is a trash holiday, so those with collections regularly occurring on Thursday or Friday, your collection will be on one day later that week. So I wish to wish members of the council and our staff and all residents an enjoyable Thanksgiving holiday. with family, friends, and loved ones. And that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Town manager's report regarding permanent project building committee.
Thank you. For the Permanent Project Building Committee, North Branford Police Department, a meeting of the Town Council, Police Commission, and PPBC was held on Monday evening, October 27th, to review the results of Centec's evaluation of the HVAC conditions. It was agreed at that meeting the next step is for the work to be reviewed by the commissioning agent. The updated balancing report on the HVAC system has been submitted to the commissioning agent in order for them to complete their final report. North Branford High School, the punch list has been, only has one item left outstanding. Glass replacements are in process, and they are nearly completed with 12 items left. There are 2 small leaks that have been identified and are being investigated on the green roof, which is off the science room on the patio on the 2nd floor, which is ongoing, and the warranty and closeout review has begun. Edward Smith Library HVAC, the engineer is preparing the drawings. The RFP for commissioning agent is out to bid, and an increase in the scope for the bid for this item is on your agenda later this evening. The DPW building construction remains in process. Stanley T. Williams Community Center renovation project ceiling tile replacement has begun, and the NBHS storage building footings have been dug by DPW, and the slab was poured this week. And that concludes my report.
Okay. On the Edward Smith Library, since we're doing a lot on our new construction in regards to energy management systems, do you know if that is incorporated into that project also as part of the scope of that project? An energy management system, since it is the HVAC that we're doing.
Great question. I don't know, but I can answer that.
Okay, I mean, if you can just get it to permanent project and see once, to make sure that they look at that and see once what the scope of that.
Sure.
Because now's the time to do it.
Absolutely.
On there. Okay, next item, citizen statements, petitions, and correspondence. Any citizen statements? Okay, moving on to resignations. First resignation is from Robert Whitworth from the CIWWA due to the recent election and Bob being elected to the town council. He has resigned from CIWWA. According to charter, you can only be on one board or commission. So that is a position that will be filled by the RTC. Just like to thank Bob for his service on the CIWWA, and welcome to the council. The next resignation is from Mary Ellen Bundy from the library board. And according to her letter, she wishes, her term ends December 31st, and she wishes not to be reappointed. And so I'm sure the committee will be bringing forth a replacement for her on there. I'd just like to thank Mary Ellen Bundy for her service on the library board, and we look forward to seeing her replacement. Okay, on to unfinished business. Use of funds from sale of town-owned properties. So do we have any update on that?
Good evening. I brought a draft to the council last month of the Economic Development Fund policy. I received some feedback, which I incorporated into the policy, and you had asked that I bring it to the Economic Development Commission for them to take a look at. They've been incorporated into the approval process now, but otherwise they approved it as presented.
Okay, so it starts on page 76 of our packet, and the proposal, we saw this last month. The incumbents from the town council, I know it's new to both Bob and to Vinnie, Councilor Mace. So if you would like time to review it, we can table it and bring it back next month to vote on it, or
In
if you have
all
any
honesty,
questions.
I did review it. I really didn't see anything out of line, so I really don't have a problem with the way it was already written into the package. So I already read it,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
unless you have a problem with it, you want to table it.
No.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so there is a suggested motion on page 76 of our packet. Would someone like to make that motion?
The town council approved the economic development fund policy as presented.
Motion was made by Counselor Diamond. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second was Deputy Mayor McMillan. Discussion?
Can I just ask, what's the role of the Economic Development Commission? How much are they going to be involved in that?
So they'll review every application and provide a recommendation to the council for final approval.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, so I have a question. How does this affect the town center committee? Or does it affect it?
Well, so the way this is set is this money goes into a separate fund, so it doesn't go into the general fund.
Yeah.
So if the town center committee would come forward to the council with a proposal, they would have to present it to us. And the way I understand this is that any funds that are spent out of this need approval from the council on this. So if they were to come forward and say, we need $25,000 to do a study on whatever it is, we could, as a council, discuss it, and if we decide we want to take the money from this fund to fund it, then we would have to approve it.
So because the town center committee is a subcommittee of the blueprint committee. So how do we incorporate, or should we be incorporating some input to EDC into the town center committee and/or the blueprint committee?
For use of funds?
No, for use of discussion, ideas, things like that. I mean, I think the EDC is, it's development of the town, right?
Right.
So I'm just asking, I'm trying to create a discussion, because we're not on an island, any of us. So
Personally, I think EDC should be involved in those.
Right, that's why I'm trying to
Discussions.
have a discussion here with us, so to see if, you know what I mean? So if we need to talk about this, to understand how we interact with each other with those, especially those three committees, I think that it's pretty important.
Could do a joint committee meeting, perhaps.
What I would say is there are members of
Yeah.
EDC on the Blueprint Committee, as well as the Town Center Committee, and we discuss, those members provide updates at EDC meetings for discussion. So there is already a kind of informal structure in place, but it could definitely be improved upon.
Yeah. I'd like to table it. Because I'd like to have some discussion with Blueprint. I'd like to have some more discussion with the town council, and just to make sure that we're all synced, you know?
I'll second the table.
Okay, so I believe, since the motion is on the floor, do we,
It's been a motion to
It's
table,
not
but you
discovered.
take preference over it, so you have to,
Okay.
it's been seconded, so
Discuss it.
okay,
you're now.
all right, that's fine. Okay, so the motion was made by Counselor Zampano, seconded by Counselor Mace to table this upon further discussion with EDC, with the Blueprint and
Yep.
Town Center Committee. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? That's fine. So did you want to schedule a joint meeting with EDC and Blueprint?
Yeah, yeah, I think that would be wise, and we have a blueprint committee on Thursday. So I don't know if that's too soon to get the EDC in, or if we should just have a discussion amongst blueprint. I'm not, you know,
Rory, do you have any input?
I can reach out to EDC
Okay.
and see who's available. Even if it's not a quorum, would you want to move forward? You know, just have a few members present
yeah,
for discussion?
that's fine. Someone to represent EDC, I think would be fine.
Okay. I'll touch base with the chair and the rest of the members, and then I'll be in touch.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thanks, man.
Okay, so that is tabled. Okay, on to new business. Item 8, change to Chapter 182, peddling, hawking, and vending.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The letter I sent, did that go to the council as well?
It's in the packet, yep.
So in your packet there, you should have a letter I submitted along with a copy of the town ordinance. What I'm hoping to do is start a discussion on this ordinance, and one of the issues that we have, which I detail in the memo, is specific to food trucks in town. So right now, the way our ordinance reads is that we provide, through the police department, yearly permits for those vehicles at a cost of $250 per annual from January 1st to December. What we're coming to find out is a lot of our organizations, even town organizations, when they have events, let's just say the Board of Ed, they do the color run, they have food trucks there and things of that nature, is those businesses, one, they come in and proceeds that they take in, they donate back to the organizations of the school, but they're only in town for one day, usually. So the charge them with a $250 permit fee doesn't really make it profitable for them to come in and support our town organizations. And for us to enforce that, now we're going against town organizations that are going to do great things with these money for the children in the community. What I did was I called around to some of the other towns, specifically Branford and their surrounding areas, see what they're doing. Branford specific, they do a 6 months and they do a 12-month permit. And that's basically based on their seasonal. Obviously, the summer months you see more activity with food trucks. What I was willing to see or hoping to see is if the council would be open to discussing a modification to our charter, which would allow a 6-month or maybe even a daily permit or maybe a quarterly permit, whatever that you felt was necessary, so that we can, as an organization for the police department, enforce this fairly, but also be supportive to our business community as well, because we don't want to push back on our small businesses in town and make it harder for them to succeed. So that was really the focus of that memo.
I have a question for you. Is it 6 months like January to June and then July to December, or is it a rolling 6 months? So when they come in, they say, I want a 6-month pass from February to July, or I want a 6 months pass from May to something. So how would you propose how to calculate a 6-month program? Because I know that can be a problem with some people say, well, I don't want the 6 months, I want these particular 6 months.
Yeah, so that's up for really discussion. Obviously, when you do varied months like that, it just makes it a little bit harder for us to track. But the permits go into our dispatch center anyway, so really they just pull up the file folder. If we have an issue or we go to check on a permit to make sure the permittee has a valid permit, then we just pull out that permit. It has a start date and an expiration date on it. So it's not a huge obstacle to overcome. It's possible, but the way your ordinance reads now is just an annual, the way it's set up. So the language would have to be modified to fit that.
So if it's an annual policy, or right now you say it's annual?
It's annual, January 1st to December 31st.
So if somebody comes in in September and wants an annual policy, it's only good till December?
Yep.
Of the same year?
Yep.
So they can't get 12 months out of an annual, okay.
Yeah.
And would it be 6 months continuous? You know, so they can't say, I need May and then
Yeah,
August, September?
I would say continuous, yeah.
You know.
Instead of picking months and.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
And then especially for those, and if you don't do a 6 month, if there's vendors that come in that are just gonna be here for a day or things of that nature, that's also I don't know how the council will feel about that when you think about that, but.
I think that makes sense.
Because I know the school does bring in organizations that this is their only vending, they come in for one event.
Right.
So if you did 125, then that's, in my mind, that's still something they have to overcome for their business and obviously to get back to those organizations, so.
So the permit from the police department is strictly, for it has nothing to do with East Shore Health's permitting.
No, they still have to get an East Shore Health permit, which is another $200, I believe they're still at $250. That permit covers them for all the East Shore Health towns, so it wouldn't just be our town.
Right, right.
So everything East Shore Health covers that one permit that they get from them, and then each town has their own ordinance that has a permitting process for this that just covers for our geographical location.
Chief, how many permits would you propose, like a 1 day, a 1 month, a 6 month, and a year? Or like, what were you thinking?
I don't want to do too many because then it starts to get crazy. A yearly, because you still have the yearlies that come in that are going to be operating all year. A 6 month, and then maybe a 3 month or something. I would keep it at 3 or 4 at most, would be my suggestion.
Does this have to have a public hearing, because changing the ordinance?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it will eventually, there could be a public hearing, but I just wanted to broach the subject, so if you're willing to discuss it, we can move forward and then get some language drafted to whatever the council decides.
I think it makes sense. I think
Yeah.
it makes a lot of sense, especially with the concerts that we're doing now with the stage that we purchased and the food trucks for that. Plus just, you know, if businesses are coming in to help our organizations, we should be supporting them too, so.
We want to make it easier.
I'm glad you brought this forward.
And if you're gonna have an ordinance, and it's my responsibility to enforce it, then I wanna make sure it's something that we can enforce, but equitably and fairly, for everybody, and not pick specific groups or times, so.
And this is any truck that's coming in, even if, like, for instance, I know a lot of the sporting events that we take, the jamborees that we do for softball, baseball, football, they bring in trucks once in a while for like a special Halloween event or something like that. Something like that would also need
Yep.
maybe a shorter term type of environment, because it's hard to get those trucks to come in sometimes.
So what I would do is if the ordinance did get changed and did get passed, then I would notify the organizations that typically use those type of
Yeah.
vending options, so that they're aware prior to planning these events, so to make sure that we can process these things, and not have any disruption to the services.
When you first started,
Yeah.
I thought you said that some vendors come in for 1 day. And they're charged, how much for a permit?
It'd be 200, the way the ordinance reads now, it's $250.
For 1 day?
It's just there's one
Oh,
one
one
amount.
charge.
Yeah, that's all
the
we have.
ordinance
No, that's what I was
Full
just,
year.
I was trying to follow it, and then you
Yeah.
kind of lost me there, so I just.
Yeah. So whether they're here 1 day or they operate all 365 days, it's the same charge.
So there would be, I'm assuming, if you had 3 different frequencies, there might be 3 different charges? Or, like an annual charge would be different from a
Yeah.
6-month, and that might be different from a 3 months or a 1 month?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah,
that.
no, absolutely.
No, I think with the rolling months, the 12 months to 6 months or whatever, I think it'll also, the media, word will spread out to other vendors who won't come in here and pay for $250 for one event. And knowing that they're going to pay $25 for an event, they would probably show up and we'd have more additional vendors. I think it's a good move.
Appreciate it. So if you have further discussion or questions along the way, feel free.
Okay, so
Yeah,
what,
come back.
if the pleasure of the council is to move this forward, what would be the next steps?
Yep, Madam Mayor, I noted in my memo. So if the council wants to give guidance on what they would like that potential ordinance to look like, we can have that drafted up for your December meeting. And at that time, you could schedule the public hearing, and then you could also have the public hearing in January and act on it at that time as well.
Okay.
There's one other thing to consider, Madam Mayor and Council. You have exemptions under this ordinance already, such as sales by farmers and gardeners of the produce, distribution and delivery of milk, coffee, spices, groceries, meats, and baker's goods. And then it says, any general sale, fair, auction, or bazaar held or sponsored by an ecclesiastical society, church corporation, or nonprofit organization. So those are already exempted. You don't need a permit at all. You may want to add schools perhaps, or something. We can wholly exempt something that a school is doing to make it clear if there's a sporting event at the school or whatever.
But is that, but attorney, is that, the way I hear that, is that if, like, say, something at the school, the kids want to do like a bake sale or something like that, if you're bringing an outside vendor in, does it fit into that?
Well, now, any general sale sponsored by an ecclesiastic society, a church, or a nonprofit would be exempt. You wouldn't need the permit at all. Someone could come in and not have a permit. At least, you might need the health district permit, but you wouldn't need the town permit, the way it's written. So that's your pleasure, whether you want to charge a small fee for the processing of these, even on a daily basis, or whether we're going to wholly exempt schools and town events.
Yeah, because, well, with the schools, a lot of times it might be the PTO organizations or parent-teacher organizations, and they might not be a 501(c)(3). I don't know, I know some of them are for the schools, I don't know if they all are, or it could just, be a parent-teacher organization that's doing it, but they don't have that. So then, to me, it's really not fair that this school is a 501(c), but that school is not, they haven't gone through it, and one we would charge and one we would not charge. So I think we have to look at that and see, to make sure that we're just fair to all. And the same thing with, like, the Little League, whether it's Little League or a basketball group, the youth sports organizations, they might not be 501, they might not be nonprofits either.
And you raise a good point in talking it through. Is there a difference between the Little League getting a cut on the ice cream from the ice cream truck, therefore they're sponsoring it as their nonprofit, versus the ice cream truck shows up at a game and nothing goes to the Little League? So that way.
Yeah, there needs to be clarification.
Yeah, talking that way
Yeah,
makes
but-
more sense to make everyone get the
Yeah.
permit, from what you're saying.
Yeah, because I don't.
How are the police going to enforce it? They don't know
Right.
why the truck is there. They'd have to.
Right, and I don't know how much, because those are all private transactions as to whether they're giving money back to the organization, so that's something we wouldn't know.
The way it's written now, it creates a broad umbrella. You could basically squeeze anything you want underneath that if you wanted to. I think it needs clarification to say, if the kids and parents at a school want to have a bake sale to raise money for a school trip or something like that, of course, 100%, they shouldn't have to pay anything. But if they're bringing in an outside vendor and they're going to get 20%, and the outside vendor's still going to make 80%, then that doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? So.
But I think what council's reading under the exemption, it says no vendor's license. Children doing a bake sale or parents doing a bake sale, they're not vendors. It's strictly prohibited for vendors. That's what 182.5 says. The exemption is for no vendor's license shall be required for sale. It has to be, people who are vendors have to have a vendor's license. But if you're not a vendor and you're gonna do a one-day bake sale, I don't think it would apply to that organization that's doing something to raise money for, they wanna raise some money for the prom or something, I don't think that's gonna be a problem, because they're not vendors.
I still think it's gray. I think it should be clarified.
And because that says earlier on, no person shall engage in vending any goods or other merchandise except without a license. So that could technically cover those kids selling cookies outside the polling places or whatever they do. And certain things are exempted, like, your tag sale, your garage sale on residential property. I think we have to look at it and write it. It's not
But that's private,
private property, correct?
that's different.
Well, then not necessarily. If I bring a food truck and let it park on my front lawn on Foxen Road, on my private property, and cars are stopping and buying coffee or pizza slices.
What if the football organization has a fundraiser at the brewery and they bring in trucks to the brewery? What happens then?
Well, they can't bring in trouble. If vendors are gonna come in from a place, they have to go see the police department first before they can drive to the to the function and get licensed by.
Yeah,
the
but
police
but
department.
according to that, if they're doing it for the football league, then they potentially could be exempt.
If it's a nonprofit football league.
Right.
The way your exemptions are written right now, I think we have to look
That's why I say it needs clarification.
to clarify this.
So I just want to ask the chief, so like, you know, the brewery brings in a truck, the winery brings in a truck. Do they have to get permits?
The way I read the ordinance now is that they should be obtaining permits for those vendors.
Because those are for-profit organizations. They're not a not-profit organization. They're
So the next
for-profit.
question is,
And that's when it gets
do they?
difficult. You know, if I rent out the brewery for my church corporation, and I bring a food truck, how do the police know? How do they figure that out? There's no permit. You know, should there even be that exemption? I don't know. Because the permits are, if you make a one-day permit, it's very inexpensive. So that would solve perhaps some of the problems with not wanting someone at a fundraiser to get the $250 permit. And I think it's stuff we have to vet and really talk and think about what we're trying to do here. And what police need, what tool they need to prevent random
I think they should still have to get a permit, like, if we come up with an idea where, let's say they're a tax exempt organization, they should still have to go to the PD, get a permit, and provide their tax exemption information to the PD, right? And then the PD will say, okay, here's your permit, your fee is waived, and then this way, if a patrol officer or something has to go out there,
Right.
where's your permit?
You
And
can
then they
go
still have a
dispatch, right?
permit, and then there's no guessing game.
So that's a very good way to do it. This way, when the officer calls, they can look at the folder the chief referenced, and it has a one-day permit with no fee, but because they had the paperwork to show it's for a not-for-profit.
So the sense that I get from our discussion is that we would like to alter the ordinance the way it stands now to accommodate this.
clean up the language.
To clean up the language. So, I guess at our next meeting, or even prior to that, you can talk with the chief, you can have a discussion and come back with some.
Yeah, we'll get a proposed ordinance drafted up, we'll circulate it to the council in advance of the meeting, so if there's any feedback ahead of that, you can
Okay.
coordinate it and get it back to us, and then we can have a proposed ordinance for you to look at your December meeting.
Okay, great. All right, any other discussion under this item? Okay, we'll move on to General Service Mutual Police Assistance Compact between Branford, East Haven, Guilford, Madison, North Branford, and North Haven.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. B and C on this agenda kind of coincide with each other. So the General Services Compact, this came up, if you remember, about a year ago. I was in front of you about the SWAT Compact, and we added the town, the chiefs got together, we added the town of Wallingford into that SWAT Compact, which the town signed on to. The next step of the progression for us in evaluating that relationship, which we've found to be extremely positive, and they've requested now to join the traffic reconstruction team. The first compact on there, the mutual aid assistance, all that does is it gives, by adding the town of Wallingford, it gives our officers and the officers that are our partner agencies the abilities to enforce any of the state laws that we need to in the jurisdiction of Wallingford. Just as we can do now with this compact in Branford and Madison, there are state limitations to our jurisdiction. This compact supersedes those because we have a compact with the town. So that's the first part of the mutual aid. It allows the North Branford Police to go and enforce those with the addition of Wallingford and the town of Wallingford. I could go on to C if you want.
Can you give a scenario how that would work?
Sure. So if there is a fatal accident in the town of Wallingford, and it becomes something that the regional team we have a matrix that they have to meet. It's not just every fatal accident. And then our officers are split into teams. If that team is up on call, they'll respond out to the town of Wallingford to investigate that accident. That enforcement could take place when we go out there as a team. You're delegated responsibilities to accomplish the goal of whatever that incident is. Let's just say I went out there because I used to be on the traffic team, and I got sent out to do an investigation. I located the offender. This gives me the ability to make the arrest right on scene under Connecticut state statutes. If that was only a misdemeanor at the time, I would not be able to effect that arrest. I would have to wait for a line for a police officer to show up because I don't have jurisdiction there for a misdemeanor. If it's a felony, I can enact that. This compact covers us liability-wise, so all officers can go and enforce laws in that town.
Okay, thank you.
So according to 2019, we're already a part of this compact, right? All you want to do is do the amendment for 2025, am I correct?
That's it. It's
Adding Wallingford.
That's all it is.
That's it. It's the same compact.
We're already part of it.
We're already part of, yep.
All we're doing is renewing the amendment to the original,
Yeah.
and the whole city is where the action or where the situation, the event takes place, that's the host agency.
It
Exactly.
adds Wallingford.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we have to add Wallingford to it. It's
So
still the
it
same
circulates
compact.
to the 6 partnering municipalities first to sign off on, so everybody agrees, and then it goes over to Wallingford for their final adoption.
I don't think we need
to
a
the
public
process.
hearing on that, just a motion, that would matter.
Yeah, there's no public hearing, it's just the motion that's in the packet.
I'll make the motion for it.
Read
Okay.
it. It's there.
The North Branford Town Council authorizes Town Manager Michael P. Downs to sign the amendment to the General Services Mutual Police Assistance Compact, admitting the town of Wallingford into the compact.
Second.
Motion was made by Counselor Mace, seconded by Counselor Zampano. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
I abstain.
Okay, motion passes. Okay, the next item is South Central Connecticut Regional Traffic Unit Mutual Police Assistance Compact.
And this compact is specific to the traffic reconstruction unit. We have one separate compact that we're already part of, and these are exactly the same, adding the town of Wallingford on to do fatal accident reconstruction in the town of Wallingford. Along with the compact, Wallingford is bringing personnel, equipment, and vehicles to the team, so it's not just a free into the program that the 6 towns have already funded for years, but they're bringing something to the table as well as personnel, so just so you're aware.
Okay.
We've been a member since 2017, so that's 8 years ago. I know you
Yeah.
want to just do amendment.
Yep.
Yep, again, it's the same thing, adding Wallingford to it.
I'll make the motion that the North Branford Town Council authorizes Town Manager Michael P. Downs to sign the amendment to the South Central Connecticut Regional Traffic Unit Mutual Police Assistance Compact, admitting the town of Wallingford into the compact.
Second.
Motion was made by Counselor Mace, seconded by Counselor Zampano. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
I abstain.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, the next item is bid waiver for energy control management systems for Jerome Harrison School, the auditorium, and Totucket Valley Elementary School. And Mr. Florio is here to give us an update on that. So,
All members of the town council. Here to answer any questions you have about this proposal for the upgrading energy management of those 3 school buildings.
okay. So when you came before us a couple months ago, we did approve Jerome Harrison and the auditorium and the funding for those 2.
Yes.
When the town manager got additional information in regards to all 3 schools, because that's what was on the information that you presented to
Yes.
us, they did include Totucket Valley Elementary School on there. They came back with their current price estimate on there. And to add Totucket Valley to this is approximately $42,000. We've already approved the funding for the bulk of the project, which is Jerome Harrison and the auditorium, which is roughly $475,000. So there's 2 things to be considered tonight. One is the bid waiver, so that we don't go out to bid on this project. And do you want to, just because we have some new members, just explain the company and why we're going with that?
Okay. Well, currently, we use, the company's name is ABS. They handle the energy management. We have the energy management systems in the new high school and the intermediate school. Our aging systems in the other schools are automated logic. I had both vendors come in, and automated logic, first of all, their price was 3 times the cost of ABS's proposal, come in and do the upgrades to these buildings. But the reason why we want to go with ABS is for compatibility. Right now, I could sit at the high school and I could control the high school and I could control the intermediate school. I can't see putting a third vendor, a second vendor. We have the high school and the intermediate school with a building in the middle. You know, why would we want a separate vendor? When anything happens in any other district, I could bring that up from wherever I am. If I'm in Jerome Harrison, I could view the rest of the schools. I'm in Totucket, view the rest of the schools. Just compatibility, that everything is the same, that we don't have different systems in every building. Their ABS's graphics and their controllability is far superior. Anybody could come in and run it. I'm not going to be here forever. Somebody could fit right in, take care of, run the system. It's very easy to run. Their service is fantastic. Our relationship is great with them. Their tech support is great. They monitor our system, and sometimes they'll catch something before I catch it. They're able to do stuff remotely. I was out of town one time. We had a serious issue going on. They contacted me. I had them do it remotely. Got the building up and running, so I didn't have to come back. If anything happens in any of the other schools where we lose anything, and say I'm at the high school and something goes wrong with Jerome Harrison, we would be able to deal with it from the high school. So compatibility is a great thing. These systems have to be upgraded anyway. Jerome Harrison's 26, 27 years old now. The auditorium is 20 years old. Totucket Valley is a very small system. There's only small parts in that. But to go with, put it out to bid, and have different companies come in and not be able to have interoperability, I just don't see the point.
It brings continuity amongst
So
all the
you
schools.
can basically be at one monitor or dashboard
Yep.
and view all the systems?
You can even do it from home.
Right, but I'm just saying, but you can look at.
Every single one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bring up the
Makes
screen
sense.
in the high school, and I just click on the intermediate school, I'd be able to click on Jerome, Totucket Valley, and that system will come up.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I mean,
I have a question. How do we know that their prices are not absorbing it more than anybody else? How do we know we're getting the best bang for the buck? By not shopping around at all?
I would invite you to look. I've looked at the cost from other vendors, and because we have such a great relationship with this company, and they're in the 2 schools already, their cost was a third of everybody else I spoke to. They're willing to use the wiring infrastructure that we have. Other companies want to come in and rip everything out. So when wires are in the walls and ceilings and here and there, to come in and rip everything out and rewire, it's just, that's the way certain companies do things. This company's able to use our infrastructure, just change the modules and change the mainframe, change the controls, get everything back up and running, which they did temporarily for the new HVAC at the auditorium in Jerome Harrison. They sent their crew out and they were able to interop with our aging systems that were there and get those systems up and running at a very minor cost.
So I have a question though, John. So if we don't go out to bid, how do you know the cost?
They gave us their cost.
They're in the memo. Here.
No, I'm talking about the 42,000.
That, they came in, looked at our schools, that's the cost they gave us to do the jobs.
ABS.
ABS.
Yes, but what my question is,
Automated Logic walked
Yeah.
in and right off the bat said, you guys could figure 500,000 to start.
right. So my next question is, do we keep records of that?
Oh.
Of even the conversation, so that we have a folder and history of what we did or didn't do? I'm just
can.
curious. I'm just asking.
I can keep that for you. Like I said, I'm in conversation with these vendors all the time, all the time.
Did AutoLogic give you anything in writing?
Nothing in writing,
It-
but
it
I
was-
can't get it for you.
It was just a
It
conversation.
was just a
you had
verbal with
when
their,
you went-
with their people that come out, their sales techs, their technicians. When we started having the problem at Jerome in the auditorium, when we needed to replace the equipment, that's when I had them come out. I had Automated Logic come out because those were Automated Logic systems. I figured they could find something wrong. When they came in and said, listen, your systems are failing, there's nothing here we can do, upgrade your system. I said, oh, give me a, let me know what it's gonna cost. Right off the bat, standing there, they said, oh, you can figure 500 a building to start. We're getting 3 schools done for 500 here.
Right. No, excuse me, I understand
Yeah.
it, but I'm just asking the question about, do we keep records of, do we keep
I could get to
information
them
for
and tell
history?
them to quote
5
me on
years
it.
down the road when something,
Yeah.
when
No,
we're
I totally-
working on
I
something,
understand.
someone's gonna
Sure.
say, well, how did we get this?
Sure.
And no one's gonna know.
Sure, I
Or
understand.
possibly no one's gonna know, and it just
Yep,
might help us as a town.
yep.
Does anyone else have any other questions? Go ahead.
John, hi. When we were working on the new high school,
Mhm.
I think there was a state regulation about high-performance buildings, and that's why EMS went in there, right?
Mhm.
There were no EMS regulations when those older buildings were built, so now we're just modular, putting those in there. So theoretically, we
Right.
could add this sit town hall to that also, right?
But yeah, you could tie every building. You could do everything.
Okay.
Once you have a system in place, they technically could do every town building if you really wanted to.
Well, I wonder if this is an option for Edward Smith Library, since we're doing the HVAC. And,
Another one on?
well, no, I mean, just a discussion.
Okay.
You don't have to do it now, but I'm saying because we have to replace the HVAC in that building, and are we, that was the question earlier, are we looking at an energy management system? Because the cost of replacing that, we're into, close to $1 million.
Not only does energy management systems manage your energy, but they monitor your entire system. So they start to tell you when your systems are starting to need service. They alert you when your filters need to be cleaned. They alert you that something's not operating correctly. They alert you to temperature changes. They alert you to anything that's not the norm that's programmed. So it's not only doing the energy management part, it's actually watching your entire system. And I get alerts constantly on my phone, and it's something that we check all the time. So those alerts come up and we don't check them. That could be a failure to a piece of equipment. You have a piece of equipment on the high school that's, it's a $50 million piece of equipment sitting on the roof. That system monitors every single thing that equipment does. These guys have every single point in their system covered. And their graphics are unbelievable. It's so easy to maneuver through their system.
This is one of the mistakes that was made at the new police department. They didn't build that with an energy management system.
They should have.
initially. And that was a huge mistake, and that's probably one of the biggest reasons we're in the position we are with them. So it's very
They're-
important, and it
They're
makes sense-
important to have in
It makes
place.
sense for the town, and I honestly believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I think in the long run, it saves a lot of money too.
It does.
Well, it's a management system. Like you said,
It
it's
does.
managing everything.
It does everything.
Yeah.
It watches outside air temperature, inside air temperature, water temperature. It just constantly adjusts your equipment. There's no use overheating anything, no use overcooling anything. You need to you need to save money. Costs a lot of money to run these buildings.
I have just one question. With the prices that are listed here, is there a possibility there's gonna be cost overruns? Because I'm seeing that in a few of the monthly minutes where.
This cost that they
Not to
gave us,
exceed,
and I could get an explanation from ABS, they'll outline everything. The cost they gave us to come in and do the energy management system. Now, when they come in and do the energy management system, they're working with your equipment. They may find something that's wrong with our equipment when they come in to do that. That would fall into, if they say, hey, listen, we put this in and you got a bad drive on the system, our controls saying to do it, and it's not doing it, then that would be, that would be over and above, but that's not on them. That's part of our equipment that's failing to operate.
That was my question.
It's not, that's not the energy
That's
management
not the energy
system,
management
it's the
system,
actual
that's a
equipment.
physical plant. Right,
Right.
It's gonna tell you what the problems are, but you gotta fix them.
exactly.
Yeah, it monitors and
That can happen.
regulates.
Which helps keep it more efficient and prevents it leading to larger.
To
headaches
larger
and
problems. That's what happened with the auditorium and the Jerome Harrison system that we had to replace. The system failed, not alerting us to what was going wrong with those systems. So as they're starting to fail, then you're playing catch-up at that point.
Yeah, allows us to be preemptive.
Yeah.
So there's actually two parts to this. One is the motion that's in our packet to approve the bid waiver, and that would take care of the bid waiver, the cost that's outlined. We've already approved the funding for Jerome Harrison in the auditorium, so then there is a, in our packets at our desk, I had asked the town manager, since this was coming up and coming before us, about the funding for Totucket Valley, because that was not originally part of this. We were just looking at Jerome
Right.
and the auditorium. But when he just got the information from them, and we knew it was kind of around that amount, in the $40,000 range, he has a suggested motion in case we have decided, if we vote that we're going to do all three schools, then we have to approve the funding for Totucket Valley. And that's the second motion that's there. So the first motion is the bid waiver.
I have that here, I can make that motion. That the North Branford Town Council hereby approve a bid waiver for the Board of Education to contract with Automated Building Systems, Inc., ABS, to install the alert and monitoring system at Jerome Harrison NBHS Auditorium in Totucket Valley Elementary School. ABS is the only authorized provider of the system in southern New England. With approval, we will be maintaining continuity with the other BOE facilities. This waiver includes all materials, services, software, hardware, and upgrades required to keep the state-of-art system functioning efficiently for years to come.
Second.
Motion was made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Councilor Goad. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay, so motion passes on that, so we're going to be doing all three schools
Okay.
on that. So now that we've approved the bid waiver,
Yep.
the next step will be to make sure that purchase orders are issued.
Purchase
so that-
order and a letter of intent, so we lock them in.
So that you can lock, I know you have a verbal right now.
We have a verbal
because-
lock-in.
Because
Yep.
it takes so long to get them scheduled in for
Yes.
service. John has been working with them
Yep.
and they've held dates for us for next summer.
They actually told me, today I spoke to the bosses, and they're like, if you get an agreement tonight, we'll start putting motion. We may be able to start doing things after hours and weekends, so the big bulk, some of the bulk of it is done before we hit the summertime.
I have a question. Did you already vote on Jerome Harrison, North Branford in the previous meeting or no?
We voted for funding Jerome Harrison and the auditorium.
All right. And this next motion, you're gonna
Pawtucket
add,
Valley.
We're adding the funding source for Totucket Valley.
so it begs the question, do you need to add all three, or can you just amend the first one? Just add Totucket Valley to the motion already approved, Counselor?
Well, it's coming from a different source.
Oh,
Yeah, I would add to the agenda what you're trying to do here.
Yeah.
And then, once it's on the agenda, let's do it the way it's proposed, the way it's been
Okay.
submitted, I think.
So you would add it as 17,
B.
well, 17E is there, so
No, whatever number of-
Okay, so we need to,
17L.
Add a 17D.
right, so this is 17D, the bid waiver. So the motion is on the floor, seconded, discussion, so now we're ready to vote on the bid waiver. Did
We
we do
already voted
that?
the
We
bid
did,
waiver.
okay, so
Voted,
that's
yes,
done.
we're done.
Okay, so that's done. So in order to approve the funding for Totucket Valley, we have to amend the agenda to add item 17L.
I'll make a
You
motion
could
to.
do 17D2,
Why don't you go 17D2?
that way you could take it up
Oh, can we do that,
right away
D2?
instead of waiting to the end.
Okay, so
Okay.
I'll make a motion to amend tonight's agenda to include 17D2, which would be
Funding for-
update for funding for the bid waiver energy control management system for Totucket Valley Elementary School.
Do I have a second? And this is for amending the agenda.
Second.
Okay, motion was made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Counselor Diamond. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Okay, so now we are on 17D2.
All right, I'll make a motion that be hereby resolved that the North Branford Town Council instructs the treasurer/finance director to include upgrading the energy control management system at the Totucket Valley Elementary School to the 2025-26 capital improvement program at the budgeted cost of $50,000. This will be listed in the other funds column, which will be funded by closing out prior capital fund projects.
Second.
Motion was made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Counselor Diamond. Discussion?
Yeah.
Question.
I have a question.
Yep.
John, when you were discussing the costs, and I think you said that you had a hard verbal agreement on the dollar amount?
No, the contracted dollar amount you have.
Okay.
You have in front of you. And I spoke to them today, that is hold firm on those numbers.
Okay. My question is, do we have a contract?
You're gonna have to do it right now. Once you approved funding, now you will enter into an agreement with ABS at that cost.
We have to prove it for
So
this.
the purchasing agent for the town of North Branford, because the town of North Branford is handling this project, not the Board of Education, because it's a capital project. So once this funding is approved, then we have to go into the contract, that's my
Right.
understanding of it.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm
Based-
just
based
making sure
on
we have a-
this
we have a
They-
contract.
They get, the
That's-
verbal was to have the placeholder. These
Okay.
guys are very busy, they do a lot of work.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't want to lose this summer,
Yeah, no, I
so,
just wanted to make sure we are not going in blind.
no, those numbers are up to date. That cost is,
One question, if I may. The motion as stated, you referenced the emergency management control system. Prior, we called it just the emergency management system, so. I'm
Energy
kind of-
management system.
It's EMS, that's it, there's no, okay, so the motion on the table, you said control system, so I'm being kind of nitpicky here.
It's energy
E-
control
Management
management
system.
system is what
Yeah.
the motion.
So, what is it? It's ECMS, EMS, EMCS, what is it?
It is an emergency control management system.
just,
Okay, so,
Yep.
all right, very good, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
thank you.
Okay, John, thank you.
Finally.
Thanks.
Okay. Next item is declaration of conflicts of interest. This is something that happens after every election, and this is due to the charter requirement on here. So if there are any council members that You just have to state what your possible conflict of interest is.
I'd like to state that I am employed by the town of North Branford Police Department.
I'd like to state that I own a welding business in town, and I do welding work for the town sometimes.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. That takes care of that item. Now we are on to right to farm ordinance, which is proposed by the Ag Commission. And I believe we have some members from the Ag Commission here tonight. So who would like to come up and speak to us about this?
Hi, Commissioner Rose. So we just kind of followed other towns with their right to farm ordinance with reasonable farming practices and tried to make it so we can support future farming in the town and kind of keep a farming community.
Okay. If anyone has any questions?
There's a state law on this, right? We're just following that?
Yeah, so the state law, I think it says in your packet, the what is considered a farm. It's like,
Very good.
So what do we do now?
right now it's kind of a vague thing, like there's no, I think we kind of follow just the state law with it, with what's considered a farm, what's allowed, but like, I think it was 2 years ago, there was a whole thing about who can have chickens in town and that sort of thing.
Chicken gate.
So this kind of clears up some of the stuff of what's reasonably acceptable, decided by the state of Connecticut.
So does this correlate to current zoning regulations? I mean, do the two?
You're not changing the zoning regulations by doing this. What you're doing is, the purpose of this is that if you have a present or a future agricultural operation, that shall not be considered a nuisance. It cannot be considered a nuisance if, for instance, you have noise from livestock or tractors, odors from livestock, dust and fumes, chemicals, provided they're approved by the state of Connecticut, irrigation, and generally accepted farm lighting. Those cannot be considered a nuisance. So you can't, no one can try to stop the business saying you're operating a nuisance on the property.
And we have a clearly defined definition of what a farm is?
And we're not changing anything.
Just so, just so
change
Joe
zoning.
Schmo
You're going back, farming and agriculture is section 1(1)Q of the Connecticut General Statutes. So you're using the Connecticut definition of a farm, yeah. And this just prevents a farm from being claimed to be a nuisance by neighbors or other people in town.
I see here, Mike Rowe, should the town council wish to move forward with a proposal, public hearing date must be set forward, so I don't know where we stand.
Well, we
Because this is an ordinance, the only way you can amend ordinances is by public hearing. Enactment or amendment of an ordinance requires a public hearing before you folks.
So this just came before the council.
Yeah, okay.
So the discussion is tonight, do we want to move it forward? And in order to do that, we would have to schedule a public hearing. If it's the pleasure of the council to have this ordinance come forward, we have to have a public hearing. We haven't done any of that stuff yet.
I'm in support of this, but just out of curiosity, has this been an issue for you guys?
So my family runs Rose Orchard, so we're technically zoned industrial, so it's not for us specifically. But as I mentioned earlier, there's been things about people raising chickens, people, maybe farm lighting at night, things like that, noise.
But as far as like the chicken thing, you have to meet the farm standard.
So-
as designated by the state, correct?
Yeah, so this kind of clears up, like, is somebody's chicken coop too smelly or something, or, that sort of thing. It kind of reverts back to the state and just acknowledges that there's a farm.
But it doesn't propose what a farm is. It doesn't change. So for instance, let's just say I have a 1 acre piece of land and I want to parcel out a quarter of that acre to become chicken coop. I'm not
So the state statute says how many acres you would need for a farm.
Okay.
So I'm Jody Francesco, and basically we put this up, this is basically all the rules you already have on the books all over the place, put into one ordinance. So when the town has someone come in to complain, they can just pull one file instead of having to look all over the place. So it's
Yeah.
basically just bringing, so everything on that is something you already have on your books somewhere.
Okay.
It's just brought into one location.
I also support this, but I definitely need to read into this more, I think. I need to make sure that I understand it better. Not a matter of not supporting it whatsoever. I just want to make sure I understand what we're doing. If it is a matter of just organizing, I applaud that. If we have things all over the place, it's easier to clean it up and make it a little more concise so people can access it more clearly. But I'm not sure if the council agrees, but I think we do need to understand where these these parts of the ordinance are coming from and how it may change something putting it together. Brian, have you reviewed this?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's fine.
You're comfortable with this?
Because all you're doing is, you're not allowing things that are not allowed, you're not changing the zoning, you're basically saying.
We can't change zoning. We
You
have
can't,
no authority
correct.
over that.
That's right. So if you have, you'll see this occasionally in towns where someone subdivides some property.
Mhm.
They take part of a farm, they put it in a subdivision,
Mhm.
and I know of instances where the neighbors will complain they have alpacas or sheep in the adjoining property, which has been a farm, and it will be a farm, making
Should continue to
sheep
be farm.
noises. Or tractors driving by in the early morning. Well, this clarifies that that's not a nuisance. If you're doing generally accepted farming practices, you're in a farming community,
Okay.
those are farms. Don't come in and suddenly say, hey, what's this going on next door where I moved in? It's a farm.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I think that's the purpose of this, is to, to continue to let the farms be farms without being classified as nuisances. Because some people don't like the noises and the sounds that animals or farmers make.
Okay.
Or farm equipment, not farmers, I'm sure they're very quiet.
At times.
I actually have a question, if I could, to the town attorney. This is making me think of, when I was on the zoning board of appeals like 25 years ago, there was this situation where the Farnsworth family had subdivided their farm and had retained a number of livestock on the property. And there was a zoning enforcement officer cease and desist because now the new homes were complaining because they had two goats, Rapunzel and Raspberry, I'll never forget the names. But they also had a rooster that was on their roof, and it was waking everybody up at 4:20 in the morning. So if somebody does something like that, is that something that would be protected under this, or is it because they're probably not designated as a farm as defined in the statutes anymore if they're just on like a 1 acre parcel?
Are they still?
It would have to be
considered a
farming or
farm?
agriculture activities as
Yeah.
defined.
I think once
Okay.
they parcel out their lot, they're no longer protected ex post facto on what they once were, because they've
Right.
changed the build-out of what they once had, the property lines they once had.
That's the only thing that makes me nervous, is if somebody's on a 2 to 3 acre lot, and then all of a sudden they want to declare themselves a farm, but you're saying that's clearly defined by state
Yeah,
statutes.
if it is a farm, they satisfy your zoning regulations and the state statutes. Maybe they have a farm. If I bought a big parcel of land, it's a hay farm, not grass, and I decide to convert it, and I legally am a farm, you can't come back and say, I'm now running a nuisance, operating a nuisance operation because I brought cows in or pigs in instead of corn.
Okay.
We can talk more again. I can pull all the statutes for you if you want. I can do if you want to make copies of the definitions, we can show you so you can understand what a farm is in Connecticut.
I'd like to see that, just to be sure.
Yeah, again, I support this, I just want to make sure I understand what I'm also motioning towards.
Okay, so at this point in time, then, we just want more information from the town attorney, and we can determine at our next month if we're going to move it forward to set a public hearing for an ordinance.
So you want to table it?
You want to table it? Yeah. To next month?
You would
Yeah, I
just carry
guess
it
we-
under old business?
Yeah, we'll just table it under,
I'll
put
make
it
a-
under
I'll
old
make a-
business,
I'll make a
so
motion
that we
to
can
table
get
it.
additional
Okay,
information.
I'll make a motion to table it.
I'll second it to next month's meeting.
Okay, all right. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Okay, so we will get more
Thank you.
information from the town
Thank you.
attorney, and
Okay.
we'll
Yeah.
talk about it next
Thanks,
month.
guys.
And
Thank you for
thank
working on
you.
this, guys.
Okay. Next item is town charter revision. So there was a lot of discussion during our last council session, especially around budget time, in regards to town charter revision. We have received some information from the town attorney and the town manager. We received it months ago in regards to what exactly is involved, but because we have some new council members, we just wanted to bring this up again so we can have discussion and understand the timeline and what is involved in the town charter and what it takes, and then we can have a discussion as a council to decide if we're going to move forward, if we want to truly do a charter revision, and what the next steps would be. So that was the purpose of putting it on the agenda tonight. And there is information and a timeline in here. So now, since if the goal of the council is to move forward with town charter, we have to determine first, is our goal to have the referendum at next year's election in November? And if it is, then that starts the clock, and we have to work backwards as to our timeline, as to when everything has to be done. That if that's the goal, then it will be fast-moving, because everything has to be done within so many days of the election, which is in November. So most likely, it would have to be sometime in September that we would have to have it ready to whatever moves forward to referendum. So that means we'd have to have it approved by probably August, at our August meeting. So you're looking at roughly 8 months.
And you're on a good timeline. You know, we've done this with other towns. This is a good time to start in going into the holiday season so you can hit the ground running next year. I would strongly advise you not to do it in a special election, because I've done it for towns where they've tried that, and because it has to be approved by a majority of the voters at a regular election, or if it's a special election, you first need to have, the majority has to be 15% minimum of the electors. So if you only get 15% of the people out at a special election, which could be a lot, every one of them has to vote in favor of it. If you get, it's very difficult at a special election to get enough people out when the sole purpose is a charter, which is difficult for folks to understand what you're doing, what that's about, so.
Well, it's 15% have to vote yes for it,
Correct.
right? So even if you had 20% came out to vote.
Correct. You
And
still need
only
15%
8%, it doesn't matter.
Right, that's my point, right, you need 15%, and special elections don't get, in many cases, much higher than that, depends on the community. To motivate people to come out and vote for a charter is difficult. Usually it's not in November, it's not when you're used to voting, it could be in the summer, even worse, getting people out. But it's not unreasonable to do it. So November's a good time, it'll go faster than you think. You want me to explain what charter
Yes,
revision?
if you
So
could.
you have a charter, which you all should have looked at some point. It's not a very big charter, I think it's like 16 pages. A charter is the organic law of a community in the state of Connecticut. The only way you could change a charter is through the charter revision process. You cannot do it with like an ordinance which can get changed. You can change an ordinance by having a public hearing and a vote of this council. You cannot change your charter that way. You have to do it with a charter revision commission. So you'll appoint your commission, and there's specific rules. Only a minority, a small minority, can be existing officials of the town or elected positions. And you have, obviously, Republican, Democrat, independent, unaffiliated rules you have to comply with. And then this body can give questions or suggested topics to the Charter Revision Commission for them to look at. I'm just going to make something up, not suggesting it. We want to look at the terms of the town council. We want to go from 2 years to 4 years. look at that. Well, you can instruct them to look at something. They have to look at what you tell them to look at, but they don't have to make any change. They can just look at it and not have that in their report. You've also opened the door, once you create the Charter Revision Commission, for them to look at anything in your charter. They can look at each and every word and make numerous suggested changes. They'll come back with a draft report, they'll present it to you. You folks can have discussions. You can either accept the report as final or send them back to reconsider something, to think about something a little bit more. They'll come back with a report, it'll be the final report, you'll vote on it. You can then decide what questions, all, some, none, go to election in November, go to the vote in November. If you decide not to send some of their questions, there's referenda provisions where electors can have a referenda on that topic to get the questions before the body. The electors, not the body, the electors. And that's kind of a fast summary of how it works. There's public hearings that are held by the Charter Revision Commission. Several public hearings have to be held. And they get to make any changes that you may like them to consider, or they consider any changes that you may like, plus anything else.
I have a question. Who appoints the Charter Revision Commission?
You folks do.
And where do they get the appointees from?
Any electors of the town, but when you're, so the statute provides, it has to be 2/3 of the members of the town council have to approve.
That's 6.
Yes, that's correct. And you need to have between 5 and 15 electors of North Branford. You pick the number between 5 and 15. No more than 1/3 of your members can hold any other public office. The members of the Charter Revision Commission, only 1/3 of them can hold public office. The rest have to not have any offices. And no more than a bare majority can be from one political party.
I was just going to ask you, how about political parties?
No more than a bare majority.
Is an unaffiliated considered a political party?
It is not. The only parties are your state parties, Republican, Democrat, Independent. A lot of people who are independent are actually unaffiliated. A Green Party, a
That's what I'm asking
Connecticut
you, what's
Party.
your interpretation?
Oh, an unaffiliated, the Secretary, I just went through this with the Secretary of State. Unaffiliated means you're not registered with the party. Okay. At all. So unaffiliated, so if you're going to have 15, like you do the math, if you have 10 people, you can have no more than a bare majority with one party, so you can have 6 from one party, and the other 4 can be a couple of the other parties, some unaffiliated, that's other members. We'll pan out.
So it has to be an odd number on the revision commission?
No.
Okay.
I usually encourage odd numbers to any board or
Yeah, I
commission,
was
so you
just-
don't get deadline, but it doesn't have to be, no. The statute says between 5 and 15.
5 and 15? Well, I have a question for Madam Chairperson. What made that, Rob and I weren't on the town council last time. What prompted this to come up to the revision of the charter?
It was last year during budget season and the budget referendum. People were upset that the current charter is that you need 15% to come out and vote. And this year, yes, we had 20% come out and vote, but if you look at the history of the last 20 years, it's probably only the second year that we've had, that we met the requirement of 15%. So that was the start of it on there.
Okay, that helps.
So, but as the town attorney said, we can guide the commission, the Charter Revision Committee, to say, here's the areas we would like you to look at, but they can look at anything in the charter.
And they would all have to be volunteers, I think.
Yes, everything. It's an unpaid committee.
Just.
Yeah. It's strictly unpaid.
We can't share any of our income with them.
You get the same salary as you do.
So is there any need for guidance, any legal guidance when these committees are reviewing this? Is there any need for that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
We usually sit there and go through the whole charter, tell them what they can legally do or not do. If they try to change composition of boards or things like that.
Okay.
They don't just go on their own.
Okay.
So I guess it would take to mediate, putting ads in the paper to get people who want to volunteer to serve on something like this, I would take it, no, 'cause no
Yeah,
one's-
yeah, we would put, most likely, you know, put something in the Totucket Times, and the town manager would probably put something in his newsletter that he puts out, you know, there's a couple different ways that we would advertise. But first, we have to determine if we want to do that.
That's right, that's your first question.
The first question is, does the
You can do it for the
co-
sake of doing it, but typically, there's a reason you think that something
Right.
should be reviewed.
So it's, can you just give a timeline as far as if it's, how long can you meet? And like, if it's for next year's election, because next year is a
You can meet
big-
as often as you want, you know, you can.
But what's
you
the-
can appoint
when
a
do we have to have it
commission.
done?
You can appoint a commission, and then, within 30 days, you have to appoint your members to the commission. And then at that time, by resolution, tell them when you want the report to be done. And then it goes from there. And then we have as many meetings as necessary. You know, the work could get done quickly if they're efficient. But I always do a schedule and I back up every time I do this. I start in November and I go back the 45 day, first you go back 60 days. They have to be done 60 days before the final vote. Everything has to be done. You have to vote on what questions to send out on the ballot 60 days before the election. Then you have to notify Secretary of State 45 days. So you have to go to that 60-day point and then back up. If you're going to have public hearings, if you send it back after a meeting, you have to have enough time to do everything. And then you're going to come up with a window from, you know, January or February to early summer, where you have to have as many meetings as it takes. And sometimes you may do it every other week and see how that works, and either do once a month or start doing once a week, or I've had them do a couple of times a week. And some towns, if they have a huge charter with a lot of heavy lifting going on, it may take longer. So you have to kind of see what the pace is, come up with a plan, and go accordingly.
Okay.
It's always different.
So 60 days from the election, if everything has to be done by that time?
That's
you're-
correct.
You're looking at the beginning of September. It has to be completely buttoned out.
Mhm.
So that means by our August 18th meeting, unless we would call a special meeting, if we didn't have it done by that time, we would have to call a special meeting to get everything done, so it's done by the 60 days from the election date. So you're looking at the very late, you know, our August meeting is when we would have to have it buttoned up.
That's a hard stop. You can't, that's by state statute, no later than 60 days before the election. You have to vote on what questions to submit to the voters.
So, we as 9 members, what are we looking to achieve? What is the result that we're looking for? Because
That's our discussion. is,
Okay.
Like, so we have the charter in our blue folders here. I mean, we don't have to decide this tonight.
Yep.
I just wanted it on the agenda so that people are totally aware of it. The charter is in here, so everyone can read it and look through and see if there is something that you feel is strong enough that we need to change. And the parties can caucus separately and come up with your ideas, whatever. And at the next meeting is when we should have a discussion and determine if we have enough stuff that we want to go forward.
And then, let's say we come up with, results that we're looking for, things that we want changed, where we would expect to have changed or want changed. And our committees work hard and they come up with questions, for the ballot, and, we agree on them. How do we get that, or how does that information get to the public so they know what the question means and how to vote on it?
So so that's a good question. So you make recommendations to the Charter Revision Commission. We'll jump ahead many steps. There's going to be a final report, and they may not take you up on any of your recommendations. You may say, we'd like you to change the number, the 15% number, and they may do nothing. They may not feel they need to do that. So you cannot add questions to the ballot in November, you as the council. You can only take the question or questions presented by the Charter Revision Commission and any of those, you can pick which ones or all of them go to the voters in November. That's your only power that you can do. You can't add new things. You can then come up with the questions. You'll come up with the questions. I'll suggest questions that you may want to put on the ballot, that fit on the ballot, that kind of summarize everything. And then you can also authorize concise, explanatory text to be issued by the town explaining what the items are for. But it has to be neutral. It can't be, political advocacy piece. It has to say, this provision increases the number of percentage at the referendum from 15 to 20%, period. You can't, that's all you can say. You can explain what that item is about.
Yeah, why I'm asking is because I'm asking it more in the respect that the voter understands what the question is.
Yeah, that's
Not
the trick.
necessarily,
That's the trick.
I don't want to make the question, I'm just saying, how do they get that information? There's going to be these, whatever number of questions, and this is what they mean or they're related to.
Yeah, they'll see the questions ahead of time because that'll be published along with the names on the ballot. And then you can issue and publish on the website and the newsletter explanatory text if you choose. Some towns do, some towns don't. I know 2 towns this year that did it. One of my towns did not, the other one did have explanatory texts. And then it's up to the voters to do.
Well, let me ask another, why would you not? Just
Because
curious.
the questions appear clear enough. The
Okay.
question is to combine the Park and Rec Commission together, the Parks Commission and the Recreation Commission for efficiency, period. How much could you explain about that?
All right.
To allow, another item they had, it allows at the annual town meeting, which is a meeting of all the voters in the town, the opportunity not only to decrease a line on the budget, but to increase a line on the budget, an expense line as well. So things like that. And that's pretty clear if that's the question.
Oh, okay.
But isn't it the basic premise to give the voters, taxpayers, an opportunity to express what they want, if they're dissatisfied with what's been going on for the past 15, 20 years? Like we talked about the 15% for the budget, a lot of people are upset with that, so maybe they want to reduce it to 10%, whatever.
Yeah.
So it gives the voters an opportunity to say, look, this is what we'd like to see change, that we don't ordinarily get the opportunity to do that at a town council meeting. That's all it is.
So I would just like everyone to read the charter, go through it, and then come back next month, and we can decide if we're going to move forward with charter revision. If we have enough areas that we feel need to be changed, we'll have a discussion and then decide. And then we can go with that. Does anyone else have any questions in regards to this? Okay. Okay, next item is approval of meeting schedule for 26. So my only question on here is, because we ran into this problem this year with early voting, and next year is the election.
Gubernatorial.
Right. So my guess is it's November 3rd? Is November 3rd the election
November 7th, I believe, hold on.
for 26? November 7th is a Saturday.
26, hold on, oh, it's November
November
3rd.
3rd.
sorry.
It is, okay. So if the state stays with the same schedule for early voting prior, it looks like our council meeting would probably fall in early voting.
Right, and it did this year too. And it was the one night we asked them to pack up and then reopen the following morning. Because they concluded at 6:00 PM and the council started at 6:30. So it was a half-hour window. Wasn't convenient for them, but.
Okay, I just
I
did,
wouldn't suggest that next year's gubernatorial are going to be very busy.
So could we utilize a
The thing is,
separate occasion?
we'll know better in February because they're going back into session, and we're asking that they move some of the early voting weeks. So I'm not sure how that was.
Okay, so we can approve the schedule, and if we have to change the date, we can just change the
You
date.
can always have a
always have
special
the-
meeting.
You could always do the venue change, too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we could have it at the police
School.
department and the community room if we
Yeah.
had to.
Well,
Unless
so,
you do it 30 days in advance, you won't,
it's not a special meeting?
it's not a special meeting.
Well, the other
We'll know
thing
that in
is,
February, hopefully, or March, when they go back into session.
Okay.
So we'll have to get the early voting
well,
dates.
the other thing is, if we move the venue, then we have to consider where it can, if it can be videotaped. And so, part of this, like the Board of Ed where they hold their, it's all set up for taping there. So that would be a place that we could hold the council meeting if we change the venue, along with any other boards or commission that happen to meet during the time frame of early voting, so that we have a consistent place of where the meetings are moved to. So that would be my only request, that we look at that to see once if that's a possibility, once we know exactly what the dates are on there. So there is
I'll make a motion that the North Branford Town Council approves the town council meeting schedule for 2026.
Second.
Motion was made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Councilor Goad. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Next item is change order for AI engineering for Edward Smith Library HVAC project.
Yes, so Madam Mayor, you have before you a request to modify the RFP, which was previously approved by the council. You do have in your folders tonight a modified change to that motion, owing to that last night at the Permanent Project Building Committee. The committee was able to negotiate costs with AI Engineering on that RFP change from their requested $22,381 to $15,000. So the new motion before you reflects that change and would bring it down to $55,000 as opposed to a $63,000 for the all-in cost.
Okay, so don't go with the motion in our packet, go with the one
The
at our
new one
desk.
that's in your folder, yes, ma'am.
Okay,
I can make that motion.
okay.
The North Branford Town Council approves the change order for AI Engineering, Inc. for the Edward Smith Library HVAC project in the amount of $15,000 for a new not-to-exceed contract value of $55,000 from the CIP budget for the project. Account 3618-0000-000-572-000-0000-0000-106.
Second.
Okay. Motion was made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Councilor Diamond. Any other discussion?
I didn't, you said it so fast. Could you say that again? We're approving a budget for overrun for
No,
work
it's,
already done?
no, it's not work that's done. It's a change order for the Edward Smith HVAC. It's for the engineering. So they actually brought down the cost of not to exceed on the project. So it's a change order to bring the cost down.
So not to exceed
Correct.
$62,380?
No, not to exceed.
55,000.
55,000.
Then I don't have the new one.
Yeah.
It's in your-
It's in your
folder.
packet.
It's in the, it's in your folder.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
all right. Go ahead, I got it.
Okay.
So you want Jeff to say that over again?
Okay. And-
Just do the numbers.
What did
Okay.
you say?
You want Jeff to read it over?
No, no.
What he said.
Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Okay. Next item is appointments of liaisons to boards and commission. Counselor Miller had asked for a list of all of the boards and commissions and when they meet. And then, so that is included in here. And then also, I just want, so everyone has a list. We don't necessarily have a liaison to all of those boards and commissions. If there's one on there that someone would like to be a liaison to, you can just let me know. We can go on that. But we will appoint liaisons to boards and commissions in January. So you can go through, look at this. Anyone that is currently a liaison to a board or commission, if you would like to stay on, that would be great. You just shoot me an email, and I will put you down. In addition to this list here, the Board of Education has asked us, they would like to reconvene the communication subcommittee, which is between the council and the Board of Education. They came with that request in September. And due to the fact that we both knew both of our boards would be changing because of people not seeking re-election, we held off until after the election and have not appointed anyone to the communication subcommittee. So if anyone would like to be on the Board of Ed Town Council Communications Subcommittee, the first meeting we are going to, they have suggested that we meet prior to the council meeting, which is fine for the first meeting. After that, at that first meeting, we will let that subcommittee decide when they want to meet. The problem with meeting prior to a council meeting is you're very limited on time, because council meetings start at 6:30. So if you met at 5:30, you basically have about 45 minutes. That might be good, it might not be. It's up to the committee to decide that. We're just gonna let the committee decide when they want to meet. I appreciate the board thinking of trying to limit the number of nights that were out, and that was one of the reasons they had picked, like, prior to a council meeting. So if you are interested, please let me know, and then I believe the board is going to do theirs this week too, and we'll have members then so that we can come up with our first meeting date and determine when and where we're going to meet, that type of thing. So, and those meetings will be posted, so even if you're not on as an appointed meeting, anyone can come to the meetings. They're very informal meetings, so if you have something to say, I am sure that you will be able to talk and discuss things. No motions are made at those meetings. It's the purpose of that meeting is to have more of a working relationship between the two boards. So even if you're not specifically on the committee, you can still come and hear the discussion and be a part of the discussion. So just email me if you want, and we will make the appointments. Okay. Next item is financial report for October 31st.
The report before you compares October 31 of 2025 to October 31, 2024. The top section, the revenue section, one thing that jumps out as a little funky is in the conservation and inland wetlands, you'll see a negative in the revenue section of $6,772. There was a refund of a permit, and I don't have the details as to when the permit actually was issued, but it will fall on this year based on when the refund was determined by the wetlands. That's why that's showing as a negative in the revenue section. Overall, roughly 49.5, 49.1 overall revenue, pretty consistent. On the expense side of the house, for the new members, that top department, that consolidated cost center, you'll see it's overexpended. That's an attempt that we are trying to restructure some of the non-discretionary expenses out of the departments into a centralized, things like phone, utilities, oil deliveries, things like that, can bring them into one department that are basically hopefully the goal is to streamline the situation and then get things processed quicker. This year is a transition year, so you'll see there are some items there that probably will need to be amended on those budgets, but you will see at the end of the day a corresponding reduction in the departments below. Just a matter of how we're showing it on paper versus being in the other 20 or 30 departments trying to move things up into that consolidated cost center. Aside from that, none of the departments are overexpended. Relatively the same overall expenditures, 40.9% this year, 37.7% last year. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to address them.
I think the refund on the wetlands thing was the plot of land, or where they went from 6 to 5, and then.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's the new development at the end of
Right.
Glenwood.
Right.
Okay. Aside from that, it's unremarkable.
All right, that concludes our new business. Now into citizen statements and petitions.
Cliff Potter, Northford. I volunteered not to get anywhere near a charter revision, so you can take my name off any hit list. I think it's a waste of time. I was here for the last one when Roger Monk tried it. If those people are so upset, why are these chairs empty? Where are they? There were so many people who were so upset. You guys did nothing wrong. The reassessment came as not as a choice, it was forced on you. I think you people are going to have a hard enough time keeping up with regular town business. It's going to cost you a lot in lawyer fees. I just don't see it as being needed, because if they were that upset, they just sort of evaporated. I don't know what happened. They got tax bills, I got tax bills. Where are they? Why are they upset? Are they contacting any of you? Maybe I'm living under a rock, I don't know. But I just feel you have a heavy workload as it is. You've got new people that have to come up to speed, and I just don't see it working. And I was here for Roger Monk's attempt, and Roger never came back. Poor guy's dead now. But I just don't feel the time, money, and effort is needed. I feel the town's running as smooth as it can possibly be. And again, I'm going to use that word, subject matter experts. Stop challenging them. Franny, Lisa, the police chief, Florio. When all four of those people, I hope they all retire at once, because that's the only time I think they really will be appreciated, because they'll be gone. And you're going to ask you, well, who did this and who did that? And Franny, where did he get all this $50 equipment from that he goes to the auctions? There's so much they do behind the scenes, and sometimes when they come before you, I don't feel the integrity and the attention they're given is proper. I really don't think good questions are asked of good people. Bad questions are asked of good people, and they're not needed. So again, if you're that curious, before you get here, talk to them. They'll tell you what's going on and how they're surviving in a tough world. I mean, Franny was down almost half his crews. He got through the year, but he had to say no to a lot of things. So again, they know what's got to be done. So again, I think we need, with the new people, if you don't know, just meet them one-on-one. I have integrity and I have respect, and I'd like to see that come from everybody on the commission here now. It's, you took this job, you won the election, step up, like Willie says, pull up your bootstraps, be here on time, be on target, and only have one agenda, please. Just one. This, town business. That night is the most important thing. Now, I don't know if any of you knew, I was the Ag Commission chairman for years. That tractor out there is not there just because it's a pretty decoration. That tractor's out there because the mission of the Agricultural Commission is to promote farming. That's why we do tractor pulls. Even that's why the hay rides at Christmas time. It's a farming town. Right now, that poor Agricultural Commission, they don't have what I had. I had Al Rose, I had Mike Duty on the town council. And right now, the way you have written their job description, they have nobody except the town planner. They don't have anybody from the council. Maybe that's something you need to add to your list. You need somebody from town council to help them get started again. because they did a good job, but you don't know what they're asking for, and they don't know how to ask you for what they need. So maybe on that list, one of you can volunteer to be on their liaison list and help them get going. They're having a hard time starting up, and it's always, and that's the way it was, because I was a phone guy. I had the time. The pages, they're so busy. All the farmers are busy. Joe DeFrancisco's a farmer. He's busy. The Roses are busy. So the actual people you saw tonight were the people doing the work all day long, and they don't have time for meetings and stuff. So I think they're going to need a helping hand to get up and get moving, and it might have to come from one of you. Back to commissions. I hope we can get some control education for them. I was so discouraged one night, and I won't tell you what commission or what night they meet, and I won't mention names. I heard, that makes me uncomfortable. And I heard it 3 or 4 times coming from a commission member. If it makes you uncomfortable, get the hell off the commission. You got a chairman. The chairman doesn't even challenge the man. So we've got to tighten these commissions up. I'm sick and tired of watching, I might as well watch the Three Stooges rather than watch a commission meeting, because what happens is not good for our town in the long run. These people need to be tightened up, read the Riot Act, and if you're not comfortable with it, then I'm not comfortable with you being on the commissions you're on. They always put too much information that they have no business putting into these commission meetings. And if I'm wrong, let me know. Because I remember when things were great, things have gotten a little bit, they've started to slide again, and the EDC works hard, and the first word out any builder's mouth or a contractor's, wow, we had such a hard time getting permits. And that's sad. They should be working to get them into town, not to steer them away. And our town has a stigma in the building community. If you can get a permit in North Branford, you're doing something. And that's not right. It shouldn't be like that. So that's why you'll see developments in a lot of other towns go a lot smoother than they go here. And the EDC, and another thing, these commissions don't know what went on to town councils. I mean, they'll meet and they don't even know what was passed by you 2 weeks earlier. So they're blind to stuff. So we got to get communication, integrity, and respect back into the councils and the commissions. And with that, I'll say good evening.
Thank you. Any other visitor comments? Okay. Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right. Thank you, everyone.